yeah, anyway, I just wanted to thank you all for coming today. And I'm going to hand you over to Louise. You're in as me, Glenda.
Oh,
I'll,
should I change? How do they do
I
that
can do
change
that.
thing?
Yeah. So I'm going to
Let's
hand you
see.
over to Glenda, who's going to host the meeting today. But any issues, you've got any technical issues, or you want to ask a question via the chat, please feel free to message me on the chat, and I can sort that out in the background. The meeting is being recorded. What we did last time is we did the transcript and we put that on the website, and we did the recording, just the audio only. If there's a particular piece that we think might be quite useful to share, I will ask you if it's okay to share that publicly, the video. So don't feel that you can't ask a question, and don't worry that it's going to be published publicly without your permission. But the Q&A transcript will also be on the website, which is quite useful actually. Yeah, so on that note, I will hand you over to Glenda. Okay.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Hi, Stephen. Hi. I don't see Barbara. I hope I get to see you. If not, welcome to the Q&A. Some of you know, some of you don't. I'm the first authorized teacher of the living method, and I will do my best to fill Fred's shoes, but this is my role here in the Q&A to address questions that you may have about the living method. So does anybody have any questions? Or Stephen? Yes, hi, thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, it's the first time on the mobile, so I was a little bit unsure.
Yes.
My attire, I wasn't expecting to be able to take part.
It looks like a jacket. It's fine.
I'm at the now. Okay. Yeah, my question, how do I phrase this? Right. I know that any effort to achieve anything or do anything is counterproductive, because it's not me that achieves or does anything. So it seems like it's pointless. Why? But then at the same time, you get a feeling that when you find yourself distracted or pulled into thoughts, or maybe taking life a little bit too seriously or whatever, that you want to let go, you want to fall back. But then again, it's a doing something. So it's always a bit difficult to know, because anything I do, then it's me doing it. Me, exactly. But then at the same time, do I then just do nothing? I don't know.
Yes, yes. Okay. So as you said, anytime you disappeared, anytime you try, or there's that feeling of effort, the thing to do really is to ask, can you find the one who is trying or thinks they can do something about what's happening?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because I know that it doesn't exist. I know that it's already been seen from, but that's conceptual now. Now it's
Yes.
a memory.
Yes, you have not had an awakening session yet, Stephen. Is that true?
That's well, I've been to the satsang a couple of times, but
Yes.
Awareness did remember itself from this position many years ago. So everything was through.
It's all memory. You know,
Now it's memory.
Well, at least on an intellectual level, you need to understand that the belief that there is someone or an I who can do something is in fact a belief. If you turn your attention inward and you look for this I, and you're truly honest with yourself, do you find anything? Do you find an I?
Just a thought pattern.
Yes,
And
yes.
feeling, of course, and feeling.
Yes. So that's the most important thing, is to question what is actually happening here. What is happening? I feel like one of the things that you'll discover, especially once you've had an awakening through the living method, and then attend satsang and have other opportunities for clearing or catching yourself misidentifying with an illusory I. You have experientially something to not refer to, but to revisit, if you will. It's not a revisiting because it's always there. What's actually visiting are the imaginary thoughts of a character, or but it's like you're in a position early on where it's a kind of like an unwanted guest who never wants to leave or shut up, you know, and the peace of being without that guest isn't particularly apparent. But once true nature truly has been experientially recognized, it becomes easier and easier, if you will, to recognize the old default. And in doing so, you're actually establishing the actual default, the true default of true nature. So the thing I can say best to you is that to recognize that how things feel and how things seem to be, getting comfortable with not confusing thoughts and feelings for what is. You need to get comfortable with using the word "it feels like" or "it seems like." And in this case, I think "but" is actually the perfect word. You know, in language, when you put the word "but" in and then you say something, "but" erases everything that came before it, correct?
Yeah.
So it feels like I have to do something. I have to, I'm doing something wrong. But you have to rest in, I know that's not so. You have to then, I know it's not so. And what can change anything? Is there something, somebody, someone, an I, a me, a Stephen there to do anything? And look, and you'll find nothing. And I think the thing that's most challenging, especially in the beginning, is the mind doesn't know what to do with no thing. But that's what we are. It's just this, it's just the quiet, the stillness. We are conditioned to believe we are our thoughts and feelings, and it's a lie. We are peace, you know. I use another analogy for you is the ocean. the depth of the ocean, at the deepest depth of the ocean, it's always still. Even at the surface, there's a raging storm of waves.
I
And,
quite like surfing.
excuse me?
I quite like surfing.
Right.
It was a joke. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not always that good at jokes, and I'm also sometimes, your adorable accent is sometimes a little bit difficult to register. You know, I didn't register the joke, so forgive these old ears.
I
Okay.
think Stephen said he likes surfing. Is that right, Steve?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so while you're there's the play of surfing on the surface, and what you are is the peaceful depth of the ocean. Has some of what I said been answered your question or been helpful?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad. Someone else question?
Yeah,
Yes.
if I can build on what Stephen just, actually more on your final response to Stephen,
Okay.
the
Yes.
analogy you used of the surfer being the objective self, and I'm paraphrasing here, the surfer being the objective self and the depth of the ocean being the real self.
Mm-hmm.
So that suggests to me that we're meant to be playing on both levels, basically. That's
I want to clarify something,
okay.
because I kind of don't want you to go down. Analogies serve a certain purpose, but they also can be misleading. There aren't two selves. If you want to use the word self, there's only the self.
Mm.
And the self is invisible and apparent. It is both at the same time. So, I mean, think about it in what Stephen was saying, right? The true nature is ever present and unchanging. It is, let's say, outside of, not that anything is outside, but objective experiencing, it doesn't register as something present in objective experiencing, but it's always there. It is the ground of the stage of this play of consciousness. But the play of consciousness, or the apparent reality that supposedly we as individuals are living, is its expression. So this is the invisible, if you will, expression. Inseparable. This would not exist in the absence of a sense of being. And the sense of being arises from no thing. And everyone in this room, whether they consciously know that or not, experiences that every day, at least once. When the body, you, so to speak, go to sleep at night, when you wake in the morning, we all have a recognition that there's a certain point through sleep where there's absolutely knowing nothing. There's nothing. Can you relate to that? Do you not have that experience?
Yes.
Well, that's where the sense of being and all appearance arises from. That's why we can't express it, because it's beyond language. It's totally a mystery, totally unknown. And we don't know how or why, but for some, I don't even know if it's a reason. What happens is that void expresses with a sense of being and a play of consciousness upon that stage. And it's the same. It's all it. That's why in clearing, so it's like a journey of becoming comfortable with not knowing, because at the core, deepest core of who we are, that's what is not knowing. No thing.
Let me tell you why I was asking that question. So I noticed this week that when I've been meditating, I usually say stuff like, "This body is not me," and this week I started saying afterwards, "Yes, but I have to take care of it." So this body, yeah, I know, right? It's funny, right? So I say to myself, "This body is not me," and then I say, "Yes, but I have to take care of it like I'll take care of a car.
Yeah.
I have to take care of it like I'll take care of anything that I own that is useful."
Okay. But I hear it's Fred calls it the bubble of self-reflection. In other words, isn't the I that you're speaking of the body that you're saying that you're not?
So, okay, that's a good question. So,
Or the character that
when I
it
say,
doesn't exist?
so that's the thing. So, I don't know if I'm doing this the right way, but I use that
You're
statement.
doing it perfectly. However it's happening is perfect.
So I use that statement of "this body is not me" to remind myself to go beyond the character.
Yes.
But
Good.
then once I've done that, I then say, "Yes, the body is not me, but the body must also be taken care of," because
Yeah.
I want to be able to do what is required at both levels. I want to be able to say, I'm eating healthy, I'm getting enough sleep, I'm getting enough exercise, because the body requires those things.
Well, so do you do anything to, I'm sure you don't even know what a Krebs cycle is. Do you do anything to make the Krebs cycle work? That's like the chemical machinery isn't all of your body. Do you have anything to do with that?
My point exactly. So the body has its own thing going on that I don't control. Like my hair growing. If I cut my hair, it grows by itself. If I cut
Exactly.
my nails, they grow by themselves.
Exactly. Your heart beats by itself.
My
You
heart
can't
beats by
stop
itself.
breathing. You
Yes.
don't digest your food.
Exactly. I don't consciously think, now eat this food, now digest it. It happens by itself.
Mayoa. It's all just happening by itself. And then there's an imagination commenting about it, like, Or what should I do about caring for my body? There is no separate you to do anything about anything. Remember I just said before, the whole is it. It is doing its thing. And yes, there's consciousness, there's attention, there's the ability, if you will, of witnessing the play. But that's all there is. It's not our show. It feels like we have something to do about it. Have you ever tried to lose weight?
That's a really good example. So I know for a fact that certain foods make it impossible for me to lose weight.
Okay. And have you also noticed, I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't count how many times I have decided that I'm gonna eat clean, I'm gonna lose weight. And then I notice that it eats what it wants to eat. It's all patterns. It's all patterns. The only possibility, all right, you talk about levels. If what you are in relative experiencing, closest thing to true nature in relative experiencing is the sense of being and consciousness. So there's consciousness that can be witnessing everything that's going on, including the arising of thinking, the rising of patterns. As awareness or consciousness, that's all that you, so to speak, can do, is be the noticing. Notice the patterns and observe what's happening. And the more consciously there is noticing of experiencing, ultimately, the patterns that are unskillful can drop away or being recognized as a pattern. And then there's the freedom for the body to choose something healthier for it. Right now, the things that interfere with doing what's best for the body are all patterns of thinking. That's the only thing in the way of the body doing what needs to be done for it. It does everything, and the only thing that interrupts with its apparent activity is the conditioning that's associated with it. It's a body-mind pattern.
Yeah.
The best thing I could tell you about the whole thing is relax and just be as alert and aware to what's happening as possible, and question what's happening. When you notice that thinking is going into a riff of what can I do? See if you could find the I who's concerned about it. On a practical, so to speak, level, Fred has an expression that I think is very helpful. He says, notice which way the wind is blowing and go in that direction. That's the closest way of feeling like you're someone that people might call it going with the flow, but what it really is just letting be what is be. You can't stop it from being what it is anyway. We just think that we can. We can't stop what is from being what is. We can only comment about it. You like that one, Marcia? It's so true. It really is true. My thought patterns, whether they like it or that they like it or not, you know, this is it as it is, whether thinking patterns approve or agree or not. But if you notice, see, if there's an imaginary character looking at that, it can bring up a sense of or a feeling of resignation. Like, I can't do, like a victim. But without identification with an entity, this is what it is, as it is total freedom to whatever we are, because we don't have to worry about anything. It's happening the way it's happening, or every now, always. That's just how it is. We're great storytellers. There's no we, but there is this, pattern of condition and response of the body mind. Just how it is. Sometimes it's appreciated and sometimes it's not. But that's just a preference of thinking.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Anne. Hi.
Hi, Glenda.
Hi. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. It's just beautiful to be here.
Thank you.
I'm quite thirsty for this resignation now, as it's coming more online, as you guess you could say, and just like everything that comes up, just all the talk, the speaking of it is just like, yeah, I just want to just say, yeah, like my take on it. And, that's what I do. I basically with one person who I found this through, and it's wanting to be more expansive because it is, it is.
What
is whatever this is more expanded than just resonating with one individual on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm here for.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, if you're already it, can the whole or something that's complete expand, or does it even have a need to?
It doesn't sound like it should.
Yeah, it is amazing. But yes, we feel like we're expanding consciousness and such. Yes, it's the way it feels and the way it is are quite disparate.
I notice myself just doing things like going with the wind in ways that are not of me. My typical, I have certain set, even just like my morning routine, I've been doing for years. And all of a sudden it's just not happening, and I'm just like still shocked like that. It seems okay. This is the fourth morning, that it's still there. I take out my books still. I still just kind of put them there. And then there are other things that are just more interesting or whatever, I can't even tell you what they were, but my time doesn't seem as, the value just isn't in that, where it once was, the hinging on it as like sort of an idol, I guess you could say, of sorts. But just in loving the play, that's what I loved about what I thought I was just hearing of the surfer, and just identifying as like just getting more comfortable with like the waves that rise of consciousness, and just being like, oh, this is light, this can be fun. And by the way, I've just always wanted to learn to surf. You know, it's one of those bucket lists since a child. You know, it wasn't within my means of my family, so I would just go out there and swim way too far out and get in trouble, for it, and get called in, and just never had the courage to really pursue that. And so that just spoke to my heart. And but then I was listening more so because I got excited, of course. I feel like it's just like this little me that's like waking up and just excited to be recognizing things in a more non-dual way, I guess you could say. And then because I know the ocean is being used in so many analogies, it's used so often as the oneness, and then me, I'm like, well, if I'm a surfer, then I'm interacting with the sky too. So let's not leave out the sky. And you know what? Let's just include the whole world in it. It's not just the ocean. So here I am, here's the depth of my understanding of what the knowing is. And then I'm just kind of riding the waves of the consciousness, and just embracing the whole, all of it, the whole everything of it,
Yeah. But there's no little me, and it's essential to experientially recognize that, or else an imagination is the only thing that's going on. And is imagination real?
No, it's just part of the character, the play.
And is it even experiencing? No, thoughts can't experience. So that's why it's so important to recognize that thinking is just an happening and arising in me, in the whole, in the oneness of the oneness. And that there's not even, in truth, there's not even interaction. It's just the whole appearing as a multiplicity. But the key
like a rainbow,
is to,
right? When the light, when it hits the rain, like a rainbow, it prisms into color. Natural light.
How much
my
does
imagination again? It just won't shut up. You're right. It just doesn't shut up. I'm sorry. I'm listening.
How much does a rainbow weigh?
Nothing.
It's like it exists. It seems to exist, but it doesn't exist. It's like if it's like it's not there.
Yeah.
Things seem to exist, and no thing is there. But there's definitely no little me. And it doesn't like to hear that. But that's okay, because it's only noise on top of the peace that is.
Because it's been longing to be home.
Say that again, please.
I feel like it's been longing to be home, whatever that sense of the little me is. And when I'm having this experience with others that seem to be there as well, home.
What if
I call it the little me?
Okay, what if language is the great distorter? What if it's not little me that's longing to come home? What if it's it wanting to come home to the truth of itself? Can something imaginary awaken? Can a thought awaken? No. So, yes, there is definitely a feeling of coming home. And it is a coming home when the illusion of who you thought you were, you pop the bubble of it.
I just feel, I guess I get so excited that I want it overnight or yesterday, basically. And especially since it seems super challenging when my life is in the relational world. Like I work, you know, I currently, it's that's sort of what brought me here, was just taking on too much. And now
Yeah.
still engaging with that, and the fear arising of,
It's
you know,
so
how do I hold on to it?
Yeah, it's okay. There is, you, as I did before, there's no one to hold on to anything. You have to do a deep looking to see. That deep looking to look for someone who's trying to hold on to something is a little bit more difficult when you haven't already truly recognized that there is no and. No, and that hasn't happened yet. And as far as you wanting to like wake up yesterday, there is no yesterday. There's no tomorrow. There's only now. But one thing that's beautiful with the living method, in an awakening session, either one-on-one or in a skillful means, small group awakening session. And I don't know if there are any more openings to it, but if there are, I would, anybody who has not experienced a living method awakening, I strongly suggest see if there's an opening for the skillful means. It's I think it might be next weekend. It's the first weekend in November, so it might be full. But your chances of seeing there's no and getting experientially what I'm talking about instead of intellectually are
I think
over
I have
90%.
experientially, actually, quite a bit.
Excuse me?
I think I have experientially quite a bit. And what I'm expressing is the challenges that still arise as I engage with my life in the relational world as is. And I've had an awakening session and I've had a clearing session, just an FYI.
Yeah, there needs, there's only now. We're all one thought away of re-identifying with an imaginary character. And until a facility for not re-identifying with imagination occurs, that creates the feeling of struggle, the feeling of getting it and losing it, the feeling of there being a difference between the relational life and who you are spiritually. There is no separation in fact, and it's only the misidentification as an and that creates the problem. And it's very, very, it is the common thing. There's no permanent awakening because there's no one there to be permanently awakened.
But yeah, it still has to go to work and do the job. And
so as
you know, and play the role.
But no one is doing that. That's just happening. And that becomes more apparent as each time there's misidentification as Anne, it's seen that that's a lie, then it becomes easier and easier. And once that default really gets, in other words, as patterns of Anne thin out, and there's less and less of that mental activity, you're being the clarity that you are. There's less overlay of thoughts and feelings and opinion and interpretation. That's the only thing that makes you, so to speak, feel this disparity. And it's very natural. Clearing is not easy. That's why, I mean, the living method, only teaching that has clearing programs. All the other teaching programs have you struggling to an awakening that doesn't happen. Within 90 minutes of a living method session, true nature can be seen. And then there are clearing programs to help stabilize, recognizing the clarity that you are. So it sounds to me that that's what might be useful for you. And clearing, support in clearing. I don't know that it exists any place else.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Steve, do you have your hand raised?
Oh yeah, I've got a question. I have a condition called sleep apnea. I'm sure people are familiar with it. And a lot of it's related to me being overweight, and I've had it for years and years and years. And one of the side effects of that is I have this sort of chronic fatigue a little bit. So when I do my meditations, which I've been doing religiously, probably 3 or 4 hours a day for the past few months, when I meditate, I immediately go into this sort of blank state where I don't have a lot of thoughts or feelings other than just basic sensations. And it isn't long before I'm into that meditation where I don't have any sense of self, I guess. It's just the meditation is itself. And so what I found though recently is now I'm having problems sleeping, and just weird stuff is happening, like my field of vision's changing. I'm having some anxiety. I was here, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was talking about some non-doership experiences that I was having. So, and I'm still having it a little bit, like I'll be making a sandwich and I'll look down and like, well, whose hand is that? Or just these weird things going on. So, is that a cause for concern that, like, am I doing the meditations incorrectly? I'm doing natural meditation. I'm not doing any type of mantras or counting my breaths. I'm just, but when you read, online articles about meditation, you're supposed to look at each of your thoughts and see them come and go. But oftentimes I don't have any thoughts at all. And I don't know if it's related to whether it's related to the sleep apnea or whether that's what's supposed to happen. So I'm just trying to get some type of affirmation that the meditation's going the way it's supposed to. Or,
well, it seems to me that not just that everything is happening the way it must happen, because there's only one thing going on, and it's doing it, so to speak. And who are we to say or judge what is happening? As far as the meditation is concerned, my impression is that your meditation experiences are very profound. And it's very rare to have to be able to be free of thinking patterns, and you're literally sitting
it's the opposite of monkey mind, which the people talk about, the constant thoughts and chattering, and I don't have that at all. So I'm wondering, why don't I? Is it the sleep apnea, or is something going correctly?
Why don't you is that you're lucky, if you will. So the experiences like that you shared about, and you just repeated now about noticing things happening, but there's no doer. There's just what's happening. I would venture to say that having those experiences when you're quote unquote not meditating are a reflection of sitting as true nature. that you have been experiencing in with your meditations, that they are, those are the only thing I see with you, you don't have an understanding of the truth that's expressing through that unit. And so it makes you feel uncertain. You know? The body has sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is happening for the body. Can you find an owner to that? When you're doing your meditation, that body that has sleep apnea seems like immersed in the peace that is, as opposed to identifying with the body that has sleep apnea and anxiety or anything else going on.
Yeah, I'm not dozing off. I'm fully conscious, but there's just no distracting thoughts or feelings that are coming up.
That's wonderful. And if you have more understanding that, so then when there's relative experiencing, you'll have the understanding of that this is just happening, and there'll be less commentary or judgment about things. I mean, it seems to me that's what you've noticed and shared. You know, you're not should or shouldn'ting about what you're noticing. There's just noticing. Noticing is kind of like a active conscious expression of that stillness, alert stillness that you're experiencing in your meditation when you're meditating.
Yeah, I just didn't know whether some of these, I didn't know whether some of these side effects are common. Like I said, things in my vision are changing. I'll go outside to walk my dogs and I'll try to do this unfiltered viewing, or I don't know what the proper term is, but just look at things and without judging or classifying or categorizing. And seems like my field of vision's expanding. It's almost like two-dimensional at times, like looking at a big poster.
Yes. So your meditations are bearing fruit of tremendous expression of true nature in relative experiencing. People have different experiences, and having an experience is not it, but it does reflect that the flow, if you will, of true nature in experiencing. I've never had a 2D experience, but a blessing of tremendous clarity comes through this unit. So obviously you don't have to have a 2D experience to have that, but to reassure you, there's nothing wrong. And from a quote unquote ordinary way of experiencing things, yes, 2D and other such experiences might seem strange, but they have to do with the clearing work that you're doing, but you're doing it without guidance and understanding. Steve, have you had an awakening session yet?
No, but I've been reading a lot and, following, different non-dual teachers on social media and so forth. So,
well, you got to be really, really careful with that. I don't know if you have the can distinguish that the majority of the spiritual teachers out there will be reinforcing separation, that there's a separate someone who has to arrive at a summit of awakening, like it's an arrival and it's the end goal, and that is a lie. So be careful. I can't say what would be optimum for you, but I do think in some way having a continual source of guidance, at least in clearing. You know, do you feel that you've recognized that there is no, I know you have, in terms of saying there's no doer. Have you had the recognition that Steve is imagination? There's no Steve, there never has been.
Well, at times, but mostly
Yes.
during those deep meditations, there's no recollection of who I am. But during my waking hours,
Yeah.
when I'm conscious, I still feel like I'm still Steve.
So basically there's only this awakeness, if you will, that we are. It's either conscious of true nature or it's unconscious of its true nature. So as you say, when there's the disparity, so when there's, you know, no owner and these experiences that you're having, certainly when you're having your meditations, there's a consciousness about it, but what's you don't have understanding, you know, of what's happening. It's difficult for you to have a context, but everything is amazing. what you're sharing.
One other thing I would add is, because of these meditations, I'm finding that my thoughts, my conscious thoughts are slowing down significantly. Like I'll go extended periods of time without having any thought.
So without you knowing or understanding it, that's clearing. We are not thinking. It is not our thoughts or our thinking. Clearing process is the clearing away of those thinking patterns. So naturally, through what you're doing, what is happening is there is a thinning out of pattern. I think that if you really, really got the distinction between who you thought yourself to be and what is, that all these wonderful things in experiencing would fall into place. And it would just, I would think, support the clearing that's occurring naturally. And you might, I don't know, Ian sometimes is very helpful and takes some time speaking with people who are considering, like, what's the best route for me? And he might help you. He's a good person, I think, if he has time to talk to you about sorting out what next steps might actually stabilize what's going on and give you conscious awakeness about what's happening. You know?
Yeah, his name is Ian.
Ian.
Okay.
Yes.
Was he on the meeting like 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was here the last time?
He wasn't the first one. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he was in Greece and he had terrible reception.
Okay.
Louise will be Louise, you'll be intermediary and see if you can connect Steve with Ian for a conversation, because he, so to speak, is doing very, very well, but he needs to have more guidance and understanding about it, so it will keep flowering, if you will. It's great.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh gosh, it's 1:01.
Just wanted to say hello to Susan. And
Hi, Susan. Oh, hi, Susan. Hi.
Hi, Glenda.
Thanks for joining us. I wish we had more time so that you and Robert can do some sharing.
Robert, yeah. Thank you, Robert, joining us.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you for
Marcia
joining
reminded
us.
me of today's meeting, so
Yeah,
please let me in. So it was great. Yeah, thank you, Marcia. Good to see you.
yeah. So I guess I'll respect the time. I'm sorry to end it. I hope you come back, Robert and Susan, and maybe before we get into some questions, maybe you can talk about your experiences at the Living Method, because once we get on a roll, with the conversations and the questions and like that, just time, it's one. Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity to engage with you, and have a great rest of the day and weekend. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
all. Okay,
Thank
you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
And everybody the recording, okay? Any
Say that.
questions, email me, okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.